In the series of community ophthalmology, today is our last session, that is part 3, community ophthalmology. So when we talk about community, there is eye camps services for prevention of blindness in the rural areas. So organization of an eye camp, there are presently two types of eye camps. First is comprehensive eye care camps with reach out approach, and the another is screening eye camps reach in approach with comprehensive eye care. So in type 1 comprehensive eye care, we basically provide the facility at doorstep, so that is why it is called reach out approach. And when we screen the patient and do all the surgical and all the necessary things in the well equipped hospital, that is called reach in approach. So number one is comprehensive eye care camps with reach out approach. So when we plan to organize any eye care camp, there the first step is preparatory phase. So activities during this phase are finalization of organizer and medical team, permission to hold eye camp, selection of the campsite. So these three, and the fourth one is publicity and mobilization of the community resource. All these include or comes under the heading preparatory phase. The second phase is intensive phase. Eye camps should last 7 days, out of which 2 to 3 days should be set apart from the intensive phase, during which following activities needs to be performed. Number one, medical team. So medical team should reach the campsite an evening before the scheduled commencement of the camp. They should set up the OPD, ward and operation theatre. Number two, patients are provided comprehensive eye care services including refraction. For performing ophthalmic surgery, following guidelines laid down by the Government of India should be adhered to. At least one anesthetist with arrangement to meet common emergency should be available. At least one, preferably two, operating surgeons should be there, and each surgeon should not perform more than 30 operations in a day. Presently, extracapsular cataract extraction by any technique, preferably manual small incision cataract surgery or 6, or phacoemulsification with posterior chamber IOL implantation is the recommended method. Ideally, the number of operations performed per day should not exceed 50, and in a camp should not exceed 200. Both the eyes should never be operated at one go. Cases with poor surgical risk such as severe diabetes, severe hypertensives and those having cardiac problems should not be operated in camps. And third one is eye health education. The third part is consolidation phase. It include 4 to 5 days follow-up and the intensive phase with following activities: care of the operated and other admitted patients, outpatients care including refraction, community eye health and morbidity survey with greater emphasis on school children. The fourth step in organization of eye camps is culmination and retrieval phase. On the morning of the last day, each patient is very carefully examined and discharged after proper guidance. In follow-up phase, follow-up examination after 46 weeks of closing of the camp is done. The second, that is reach in approach, is screening eye camp. The screening camps are held in rural and remote areas where eye care facilities are not available. Patients are provided comprehensive eye care services including refraction. Patients in need of cataract surgery are then transported to the nearest well-equipped hospital. Our emphasis is on ECCE with posterior chamber IOL implantation for better vision in after surgery. So next topic of discussion is iBanking. So what is iBank? iBank is an organization which deals with the collection, storage and distribution of cornea. Function of an iBank. The first function is promotion of eye donation by increasing awareness about eye donation to the general public. Next is registration of the pledger for eye donation. Next, collection of the donated eyes from the deceased. And next step is receiving and processing the donor eyes. Next is preservation of the tissue for short, intermediate, long or very long term, and distribution of the donor tissue to the corneal surgeon, and then research activity. So these are the eye banking activities. And for eye banking there should be some specialized eye bank personals. So eye bank personals include eye bank in charge, he should be a qualified ophthalmologist, eye bank technician, clerk cum storekeeper, medical social worker or public relation officer, driver cum projectionist. So eye collection centers, about 4 to 5 collection centers are attached with each eye bank. Function of eye collection centers are local publicity for eye donation, registration of voluntary donors, arrangement for collection of eyes after death, initial processing, packaging and transportation of the collected eyes to the attached eye banks. So personnel needed for eye collection centers are ophthalmic technician trained in eye banking, local honorary workers, voluntary agency like Lions Club, Rotary Clubs to boost the eye donation campaign, service of honorary ophthalmic surgeon or medical officer trained in enucleation available on call, legal aspect. The collection and use of donated eyes come under the purview of the Transplantation of Human Organ Act 1994. Fact about eye donation. Almost anyone at any age can pledge to donate eyes after death. All that is needed is a clear, healthy cornea. The eyes has to be removed within 6 hours of death. Eye donation gives sight to two blind person as one eye is transplanted to one blind person. The eyes can be pledged to an eye bank and can be actually donated to any nearest eye bank at the time of death. It is not necessary that the pledged eye bank is same as the nearest eye bank. The donated eyes are never bought or sold. Eye donation is never refused. The eyes cannot be removed from a living human being in spite of his her consent and wish. So the last, I think, rehabilitation of the blind. How we can rehabilitate the blind person? A blind person needs the following types of rehabilitations. First is medical rehabilitation by providing low vision aids, LVA. Many visually handicapped can have a useful vision. Training and psychosocial rehabilitation. It is the most important aspect. First of all, the blind should be assured and made to feel that they are equally useful and not inferior to the sighted person. Their training should include mobility training with the help of a stick, training in daily living skills such as bathing, washing, putting on clothes, shaving, cooking and other household work. Educational rehabilitation. It includes education avenues in blind school with the facility of Braille system of education. Vocational rehabilitation. It will help them to earn their livelihood and live as useful citizens. Blinds can be trained in making handicrafts, caning, bookbinding, candle and chalk making, cottage industry, and as telephone operators. So this is all about the community ophthalmology. So all these three parts we have discussed many aspects, right from the uh, disease prevalence and how we can protect, how we can prevent blindness, what are the preventable blindness, what are the treatable blindness, what are the non preventable blindness. So, and what role we can perform in community as eye specialist. So I thank you all for attending for this series of community ophthalmology. Thank you very much.